What's going on, everybody? Yeah, just want to get on here and share some tips to help people, if they're struggling with like beat block or writer's block or producer block, whatever kind of label you want to put on to, having a difficult time creating some new music and stuff like that, and I'm going to share some tips that have been helpful for me, and hopefully they're helpful for you. So the first kind of tip here is kind of realizing that this is a mental issue, not a skills issue. And when you kind of focus on kind of getting still, getting present, because so much of like beat block, writer's block, whatever this block is, it's a projection, of the future or the past that's keeping you from kind of creating something new in the moment. And so when this kind of stuff is happening, I mean, you can't seem to create, it's, when you get still, you have that mental, thing, just, oh, well, this isn't good enough, or, that's not as good of a melody as the last time you made one. And, it's, oh, but people won't like this new one. You've already peaked, or, whatever kind of, bullshit's going on internally in your mind that's keeping you from, creating. A big part of it is, recognizing that that's the issue. It's not your skills. It's not, anything other than that. Just, it's just thoughts, that are preventing you from, producing and creating something new. And so, when that starts to happen, whatever kind of mental thought form is creeping in that's keeping you from creating, address, if it's a kind of a fear that you won't be able to, create or top something that you've already made, address that, start addressing these concerns internally, and try to get to a space where, you're able to separate yourself from that, and not, just listen to these thoughts and believe them to be real, and so kind of, as you're addressing these different fears, just recognize that, music is about, expression, so, be yourself, focus on, what you enjoy, what you like to produce, what you like to create, because, there's only one of you, and if you're in a band, it's a collaborative effort, or, any of that kind of stuff, don't, try to do it the way somebody else has already done it. The neat thing, or the awesome thing is like, just be unique, be yourself. Yeah, that's the biggest thing. You don't have to be like anybody. You might, aspire, have some sort of role models or something like that. But, things are going to happen for you in a unique way. And so, don't let your mental things keep you kind of in a stuck zone, and, with that, just be yourself. And, some of these tips to help you, actually push forward, push out of the mental block, start to, get a limited game plan, and what I mean by that, instead of like creating some orchestral thing with like 50 things, 50 instruments or whatever going on, try limiting yourself to, I'm going to just use a piano, maybe a guitar, drums, or if you're making a beat, piano, keys, whatever drum kit, and instead of trying to do too much, just try to simplify it, and in that simplicity, whatever evolves, from there, it's all good. Just, the biggest thing is getting going, and so try to get into a zone of just maybe limiting what you're doing, and go from there. Don't try to do too much. And that's a big thing with some of these like sample libraries and synthesizers. Just like you get overwhelmed by just options. It's like, some of these things have, so many different sounds and so many different options that it makes it hard to get going on even just doing one thing. So, try limiting yourself to, a simple setup. How simple can you make a beat? How simple can you, make a track, using only 4 instruments, for example, and go from there. I mean, you don't have to keep that, once that idea sparks, and, go from there. And so, the next one is this is kind of an interesting option. It's like open up like the piano roll here, and instead of using kind of what you're familiar with, go to like this stamp option. This is an FL Studio 12, and I'm sure most DAWs have these types of options, but try a different scale, different key, than what you're used to producing in or creating in, and see what happens. If you're used to like just like writing in major pentatonic or minor pentatonic, if you're into like rock music or kind of pop music, switch it up. See what this harmonic minor sounds like. Just you kind of do this in C, but then you have all these options that are different. Where if you're used to doing like a major scale, it's all the white notes. C major, all the white ones. You get a little bit different option, with the harmonic minor that gives a different sound. I'll just do something real quick. It's something different, then might open up some of them creative juices just to let things start to flow out, which kind of leads to the next part of this thing is don't have any expectations for what you're about to do. Just let things to flow, and as you're becoming still and just kind of getting into the zone of just creation mode, don't compare yourself to other producers or musicians, or just be yourself, and just whatever starts to flow out that happens in the moment, just allow it to progress, and not have I'm going to make a masterpiece this time around, because then mentally you're just hung up on I'm just got to do it perfectly, and that kind of mindset can be kind of your own hang up, your own hurdle. But when you just allow melodies and rhythms to flow, another thing is make sure your metronome's on, so you kind of get an idea for the beat. How that melody starts to play with the beat. And that can help kind of spark some creative juices. And another idea, another thing that has worked for me, has been helpful for me, is I think a lot of people that produce and everything, you have a whole lot of like starting projects that you just at the time you're like, I'll get back to it. That's a good time to start going back to some of these ideas that you've maybe had 6 months to a year ago, or however long you see in your hard drive. Check out some of these things that you may have forgotten about, and there could be a melody or something in them that now sparks some sort of a creative flow. That's happened a lot for me, in producing. To go back to it, and it's like, I didn't know what to do with it at the time, but then you hear it again, it's like, that sounds cool if I do these kind of modifications, and that gets the gears going on doing something creative, and letting that just flow out naturally. And then kind of another idea, another thing that's been helpful for me is like just getting onto YouTube and just checking out some tutorials, learning something new, trying something different. It can be so many different hang-ups, maybe an arrangement issue. It's like, I've just been doing the same thing over and over again. I want to try something different, but then you don't know how to kind of hook that up. Just working a tutorial just to expand your repertoire is helpful. And you don't have to sit there and copy it perfectly. You get the rough idea, you get the rough kind of flow, and then make it your own. And from there, the biggest obstacle is just that initial getting going, getting things flowing out. Once that block has just kind of went away, then you just let it flow out naturally again. That's a good way to kind of get to the next step. Is just do something different, learn some new skills, pick up some new things, and expand. Another thing is, with music, one part of it is creating it, producing it, and putting it out. Another part of it is, networking and doing, A lot of times, give what you want to get back. So, if you want people sharing your shit and checking you out, check out other people that are kind of, doing the same thing in the genre that you're liking to make music in, or whatever you're doing. There's others that are also doing something similar, and check out their stuff, and share their stuff. Give what you want to receive back in return, and there's plenty of opportunity to do that. I've talked to some people. It's like, they give these different ratios for how much time you should spend promoting and producing, making music versus promoting it. And, it's a lot more than, what a lot of people like to do. And so if you're having a difficult time getting going on making something new, start going, promotion, networking, with some of your other stuff that you put out. And, at the same time, give to others, what you want to get back in return. And let's see, I had some other things wrote down. And, listen to music. Yeah, that's a big one too. It's like sometimes you can get so hung up on, the block or whatever, that you kind of, forget what you got into music to do to begin with. So listen to some things that are inspiring, that give you that, whatever internal feeling you get from music, and learn to love it again. Part of writer's block, beat block, you start getting so frustrated and pissed off at it. Just get into a zone where you're just, music kind of just flowing in and out, and other than that, be yourself. And one of the hallmarks of good music is being able to translate what you have on the inside outwards, and it's like that's one of the big things with the block is, it's like you have it inside, but then having a difficult time expressing it, and so it comes with just experience, I guess, and part of that experience is just getting out and doing it, and getting into that kind of a flow, just inspiration just hits like that when you're still, and not expecting to do whatever. Just it's an art. And part of art is it's inspired. So other than that, I appreciate you guys liking, sharing, subscribing, sharing the video with your friends if you found it helpful. Hopefully it is, and hopefully it clears up some of those kind of mental things that are causing a hang up on producing or creating or any of that kind of stuff. So thanks everybody for listening, and have a good rest of your day, and God bless.